There are great people who come into your life for a brief moment. And then there are people who leave a lasting impression forever on your heart. Dan Fordice was one of those rare people. If you knew Dan, you probably walked away believing you were one of his closest friends. The remarkable thing was, everyone else felt exactly the same way. That was his gift. He had a remarkable way of making every person feel seen, valued, and important. Joy followed Dan everywhere he went. He dreamed big. He loved big. He served big. Everything about him was larger than life. Yet, for someone who accomplished so much through his time as an Army captain, as a pilot, and a successful construction business owner, he remained remarkably humble. Whenever someone thanked him or praised him, he would quickly remind them, "This isn't about me." And he meant it. Because for Dan, life was never about recognition. It was about people. If breakfast needed cooking, Dan was in the kitchen. If the trash needed taking out, he grabbed the bag. If someone was standing alone, he walked over. If a veteran needed encouragement, somehow he always knew. He didn't believe leadership meant standing in front. He believed leadership meant serving beside. But greater than this was his family. They were everything to Dan. He loved his wife, Ann Claire, beyond words, and he always had a greater pep in his step when by her side. He adored his son, Nathan, and his wife, Sarah, his daughters, Elena and Aaron, and treasured becoming a grandfather to Mary Claire and John Fisher. But his heart was big enough that somehow it made room for so many in various communities across the country. Somehow, you all became part of the family. But his love for all those that served this great nation tugged deeper at his heart. A calling, so to speak. And that's exactly how the Warrior Bonfire began. Not with a business plan, not with a fundraising campaign, but with a gigantic heart.
Our inspiration for that was Sergeant First Class, Greg Williams, who came and spoke at one of our air shows. And when I was taking him home the next day, he said, "I could spend 12 hours with a PhD certified counselor, but what I really need is 1 hour around a bonfire with 5 or 6 of my buddies that were there." And so I told him right there, I said, "We will provide the bonfire."
So Dan and his brother Hunter set off to build bonfires. And through the outstanding generosity of the Fordice Construction Company, what started with 6 Purple Heart recipients gathered around a fire became something none of us could have imagined. An incredible legacy, and even more, an incredibly large family. A place where combat wounded veterans discovered they didn't have to explain themselves, where pain was shared and joy was multiplied, where healing quietly began. Even though Dan often reminded us that this wasn't about him, it was because of him that hundreds of Purple Heart recipients found hope. Many found purpose and their way back to their families. Others discovered they could become leaders and help the next veteran beginning the same journey. This is a legacy that few people are blessed to leave. Today, there is an emptiness that cannot be filled, a Dan-sized hole in our hearts. We miss the phone calls, the nicknames, the impossible dreams that somehow became reality, his contagious excitement, his servant's heart, his unwavering belief that every veteran deserved to know that they were never alone.
I'd like to retire my portion of the blue field in honor of all those patriots from all wars who have lost their battle at home.
Because of this, we know that the greatest measure of Dan's life isn't found in the airplanes he flew, or the things he constructed, or even the organizations he founded. It is found in people, in the lives that were forever changed because one man chose to care. One man chose to serve. Dan loved to quote Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman.
"Pain shared is pain divided. Joy shared is joy multiplied.
He didn't simply believe those profound words, he lived them, and those words became the mantra for Warrior Bonfire. So now, it is our turn to do exactly that, to keep building community, to keep serving others, to keep making sure no Purple Heart recipient ever walks alone. Because every time a veteran finds hope around a Warrior Bonfire, every time a life is changed, every time joy is multiplied, a part of Dan's legacy lives on. Thank you, Dan, for believing in saving lives, for believing that love shared freely could change lives. For Dan's legacy, we commit to continue to provide the bonfire.
What I'm asking every American citizen and every American company is to find the organization that you believe is doing the best job for our wounded heroes. Find who is providing the greatest healing and give that organization all you can afford. Give of your time and your treasure. And let's all walk this journey together with some of America's greatest heroes.